salamander. One of them is a salamander. 2, 3. Hey everyone, this is DWS Darius and welcome to another day in the fish room. So one of the common questions I get is, where do I find my driftwood? In all my aquariums I use driftwood as a decoration, and if I was to buy all this driftwood I would be spending hundreds if not thousands. A piece this size would cost me hundreds alone. So I definitely don't buy my driftwood, I collect it locally, and today I want to give you guys a look at how I do that. So today I'm going to be taking you along with me to one of my spots where I collect driftwood from. Now I will tell you guys that I'm in New Jersey and I collect driftwood from two main spots, or two main types of spots. One being the beach, since we're on the shore, and one being from local streams and forests and things like that. Now I believe that most of us in the US will have more access to the streams and the forests and rivers and stuff like that compared to us who have access to the beach, because only us who live on the coastline will be able to go to the beach to get driftwood. So today I'm going to focus on getting driftwood from streams, rivers, and lakes and stuff like that. And by the way, all the driftwood in this tank, all the driftwood in that tank, all the driftwood in the tanks down here in the fish room, all of them come from streams, rivers, lakes, etc. Maybe in the future I'll make a video about collecting driftwood from the beach, but I believe more of us will have access to those streams and rivers. Now the place we're going to today is the same place I collected my rocks. So for all the people who ask me where I get my rocks from, look at the guy down there sitting there all camouflage. That is my Polypterus and Lecheri in a rock we're hiding. But for all you who ask me where I get my rocks, I get my rocks from two places. Today we're going to go see where I get my river rock from. There's another place where I get my mountain rock from, which are these type of rocks which come from the side of a mountain. Maybe I'll do that in a different video, but this will answer your questions as well. Now the first thing you want to consider when you're collecting rocks from the wild is making sure you do it in a legal way. Of course, don't take anything from private property. If you're taking it from a state park, of course you want to get permission, because the last thing you want is a fine for collecting sticks and stones. Never ever take wood from a living tree. Look how awesome these roots look. They will look perfect inside an aquarium. However, this tree is alive and we need all our trees. So never ever take wood from a living tree. So one of the first things you want to consider is that when you're collecting wood, you want to collect it near or in the water. I'm up here and I'm pretty far from the water. And I'm pretty sure any of these pieces of wood that I find, they're going to have like 1,000 spiders and a bunch of other bugs. And nothing wrong with those bugs. The only problem is when I put it in the car, they're going to be in the car for who knows how long. So just to avoid that headache, it's best looking for wood in or near water. If the wood has been soaked or submerged, there's an unlikely chance that you're going to have terrestrial hitchhikers in that wood. Can't get too close. I also recommend when it comes to looking for your wood that when you look for it in water, you want to look for it in moving water. I find that when you find it in lakes and stuff that are very still, you're going to have a higher chance of bringing home aquatic hitchhikers like algae, parasites and things like that. Moving water, you may have algae still, but nowhere near as much as in a still body of water, because it has, the stiller it is, the more stagnant it is, and a higher chance of life being in there. And in the moving water, you got a higher chance or a lower chance of bringing aquatic hitchhikers. See, this is one of my common spots that I like to check. Normally after rainfall, this entire thing is underwater, and then you get these pieces that wash up. Certain pieces obviously won't work. They have nice texture, but if you put something like this in your tank, it's going to break up in no time. You don't want that. You want a piece that's a little bit more sturdy. Of course, nothing too big. This thing waterlogged is probably like 200 pounds, so nothing that's like too heavy. This piece not bad, but not really much definition to it. And pretty much just all around is wood that's washed up. Best time to come is after a rainstorm. But this is typically the location where I find wood for my aquariums. It's also good to find pieces of wood that don't have bark, because in an aquarium the bark will come off. So pieces like this are fine. However, when you have pieces like that, all of that is going to come off in your tank, and that's the most annoying thing to have to face in your water cleaning up bark every day. So yeah, look for pieces of wood that are bare and free of bark. Now, something you want to avoid when looking for wood is pieces of wood that have like fungus or mushrooms growing on it, just because when it gets in an aquarium, who knows what kind of effect it's going to have when it starts decaying. So a piece like this, definitely something you want to avoid, because it may have reactions in your tank when it does start to decay. Like a cross without getting wet. One, two, three. Oh. Another thing you want to avoid when you're looking for driftwood is pieces of wood that may be rotted. Now this piece right here definitely has a lot of character, but when you leave it in your aquarium, it's going to break up and you're going to have this all over your tank. So try your best to find a sturdy piece of wood, and you will not regret it, because it's going to actually last in your aquarium without breaking apart, and you having to clean up this every week. Well, the good idea is to go ahead and bring a saw, because look at this piece, a dead tree, and look at these roots. Imagine that in an aquarium. But you definitely need a saw to get that loose. So yeah, bringing a saw, small little hand saw, definitely would be beneficial. Another thing I like to do when it comes to looking for wood is just using an example that I see in nature. So right here you can see how the roots are cascading down, and when this river floods, this is sticking in the water. So what I would do is find a dead tree and take these roots and let them come down from the top of the tank, and definitely will have a natural effect to it. And check out this piece. I have a lot of big aquariums, so this won't really have a dramatic effect in my tanks, but still, nevertheless, a pretty unique looking piece. Look at that. Look great inside a small tank. Even in a big tank, I can have it coming out the substrate like that, and it definitely adds character to the aquarium. Now when you look for wood, you want to of course keep in mind your fish, keep in mind the fact that this is going in your tank and it can be a possible habitat. So I like to use hollow pieces, something like this. My ghost knife would love to hide in there, even bichers, and if you have small fish, they definitely would love swimming through there. So one thing to look out for is pieces that are hollow. Not only does it provide a hiding space for your fish, but also is easier to sink. If you have something of the same size, if you have something like that that's completely solid, that's not hollow, it's going to be extremely hard to get to stay underwater, whereas something like that is definitely going to be half the effort to get it to sink. So you definitely want pieces that are hollow. Over here we came across some sunfish. This little pool keeps fish. You can't see anything because of the glare, but we're going to see if we could catch one with just a net. You got a worm? There's a bunch of them in there. It's just the glare is like terrible. And give it a nice break. Oh, that's not even a worm. That's a salamander.
Guys, I couldn't find the pebble, but I found a baby rock.
And by the way, this is also where I get a lot of my rocks from. People ask me, Where do I get my rocks from? These are some of the best rocks to use in your aquarium because they are absolutely natural. Now, one of the biggest questions I get is what type of wood is actually safe for the aquarium. And I want to say that as long as you're getting dead wood, all of it can be safe. I know a lot of people say stay away from fruit trees, stay away from trees that have sap. But once again, if that tree is dead, it's not going to be producing sap. It's not going to be producing most chemicals. I even used these vines one time in my aquariums for years. And a lot of people say stay away from vines because when you squeeze the vine, they release liquids. But as long as they are dead, I do believe that you are able to successfully use any tree in your aquarium. Okay everyone, so that is a look at how I collected 95% of my aquarium decorations. I mean, you could go ahead and you could support your local fish stores by buying driftwood and stuff from them. But in my opinion, when you're working with big pieces like this, you definitely save a ton. And also the experience. I myself just naturally like going on hikes, naturally like going on walks and stuff like that. So for me to find a piece of driftwood, just a double win. Now, of course, what I showed you guys is only part one. You can't just go to the woods and bring back a piece of driftwood and toss it in your tank. You do got to treat it. I made a video showing how you treat big pieces like this because it's definitely not easy as a small piece. The small piece, like let's say one of these, you can just toss in a pot and boil it. These bigger guys, a little bit more effort needs to be made, and I have a video just showing you guys what I did to prepare these pieces of wood. So make sure you check that out before you actually put the wood into your tank. And now to finish things off, I want to give you guys a look at my wood collection. I have wood all over the place because it's just awesome. When I go on walks, like I said, if I find a good piece, even if I don't have a place for it in my aquarium, I leave it around the house as a decoration or something because you never know when you can use a good piece of driftwood. So we have this piece right here. Very awesome piece. It was actually one large root system. This was one half and the other half is over here in this tank. Right here. So both of those two were one piece. I broke them in half and now I have two awesome pieces. And then we have this piece. I know these two definitely were one long piece. And I think this one was connected to those two that were together. So it was only like two pieces I actually found. I took a saw, chopped them in half, and definitely looks very awesome. In this tank we have a bunch of smaller pieces. The best piece in my opinion is this guy right here. Comes down and he actually makes a hook underneath that rock. And he has some hollow points, so very nice decorated piece. And I actually found this piece at that waterbed that I showed you guys right at the mouth of the river. One day it was during like a heavy storm and this was just out there. And then all these smaller pieces. See, this is the only piece that actually looks great by itself, but these smaller insignificant pieces just bring the entire scape together. So you don't have to find a bunch of perfect pieces, one good piece and a bunch of other pieces to support that one piece, and you get yourself a nice scape. And then we come over here to the 210 gallon aquarium. Probably can't see much because of the glare. Now a lot of the pieces in here came from the beach. This piece came from the beach. Most of those came from the beach, and you can't even see it. But I'm gonna have to make a video about collecting wood from the beach. It's the same concept, same rules, just different scenery. This piece came from the beach. Look at that. Walking on the beach, you just can't leave this behind. Perfect. I actually use this to hold up that when I'm doing water changes. And then I just have pieces randomly being used as decorations. This piece right here is being used to hold up this staghorn fern. Awesome. And all the pieces that I collect, just hang them up. If I need to use them as a decoration, pull them down, toss them in the tank. I even found this horseshoe crab on the shore one day. Awesome. This was one of my best finds, this right here. Massive piece. It had to be like 150 pounds. It was extremely heavy. But imagine in my big tank putting this in there. Right now I'm using it as a decoration and the cat loves to play with it. But definitely awesome piece that I couldn't leave behind, even though I didn't have the tank space for it yet. Still went and got it. I also keep pieces out here when I don't have enough space in a house for them. So this right here was actually a bush that died in the front of the house. Tore it up and I used this in one of my escapes for like my beta tank, and it was a lot of concerns of whether or not this was actually aquarium safe. But like I said, if it's dead, it most likely will be aquarium safe because you don't have to worry about it leaking any chemicals or anything like that. I used it inside a beta aquarium for like a year with no problem, so that works out. And look at this thing, it's still dirty. I'm trying to get this thing clear. Oops, tripping. And then you have pieces like this. I find pieces, bring them in the yard because you never know when you can use them. Got some more pieces over here. Pieces came from the beach. You know it came from the beach because the beach has like this bleachy look on the wood. Okay, come over here to the pond, using more driftwood just as decorations. Got this log right here. Actually using it, I have a PVC pipe going through it, spitting out water on the other end, so definitely was great to use that. These right here actually came out of the aquarium. Back when we was in the forest, that piece that I showed you, the vine, this is it. I had it in the tank for a year. I took it out because it didn't have any use. You can tell it's a vine because it's just so flexible. No problems in the tank when it came to leaching chemicals or anything like that. What else? We have this, another awesome piece, just using as a decoration. Piece over there, awesome. Driftwood all over here. So yeah, I go on hikes almost weekly, and every time I find a piece of driftwood, I bring it home because you never know where you can toss it in a tank. But yeah, everyone, I hope I answered some of your questions as far as where I get my wood from. Like I said, eventually I may do a video showing how I collect it from the beach and from the bay. But yeah, that's it for today. If you like this video, if you found it helpful, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. If you want more, make sure you subscribe. I thank everybody who has been subscribing because you guys are just very awesome, very encouraging, and always encouraging me to just go further in this hobby. And yeah, thank you for spending time with me today, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.